In this installment, we're going to be going over the Sunday Night Football Showdown slate. We have a cross-conference matchup here between the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Green Bay Packers. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for our Sunday Night Football Showdown slate on DraftKings between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers. But before I deep dive into that, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. Don't forget about the TikTok at Chef_D91, and don't forget about the Patreon. We're going to talk about that really soon. But before I do, guys, we are at the homepage of the YouTube. We are currently at 1.48 thousand subscribers, and to be exact, we are at 1,489. So we're very close to getting to 1.49 and getting to that 1.5K subscribers. So guys, if you're currently tuned in, you're not currently a subscriber, go ahead and smash that subscribe button right this second. And now on to the Patreon. Guys, you are missing out. We absolutely dominated Thursday Night Football. My main play was the Seattle Seahawks plus 9.5. That was just way too many points for a playoff team. I also had TD anytime touchdown of DK Metcalf. That came through, but for this particular bet, I wanted to juice the odds, so I put DK Metcalf as a first touchdown score. So that came through. I had a better number here. I got Seahawks plus 10, and we also had Tony Pollard to score a touchdown. So that's why I put that all together. Pollard TD, DK Metcalf TD, DK Metcalf over yards, and that plus 9.5, $8 for 80. So all those bets came through, guys. If you want winning selections for football, for NBA, for the playoffs coming up, go to that link provided down below. The first thing we got to get into before we get to the captains and the flex plays is the injury report. Kicking things off with the Kansas City Chiefs, we have two, not major outs, but two concerns here. We got Nick Bolton. Obviously, he's been out. He's been on IR, but he has gotten in on a limited practice. But he's going to be out for this particular game. So that Nick Bolton comeback game is going to be very soon for him. But the major key here is going to be Jerick McKinnon. All right, he's officially out for this game on Sunday night. So that's going to leave two running backs. That's going to leave Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire as the 1-2 punch for the Kansas City Chiefs. So that at least that helps, and we can really diagnose the usage for both guys. All right, everyone else is pretty much clean and clear for the Kansas City Chiefs side. We're going to move on to the Green Bay Packers, and we got a couple guys here. Jair Alexander on the defense, he's questionable. Devondre Campbell, linebacker, he's questionable. Josiah DeGuara, who's going to be the backup tight end here, is going to be DeGuara and Tyler Kroft. Those are going to be the two tight ends right there, the rookie. So he's questionable. Rudy Ford is questionable. Aaron Jones is out. So we have a clear-cut designation on the starting running back here. That's going to help with their side of the offense, and at least A.J. Dillon doesn't have to split carries. Can we finally get an A.J. Dillon game? We're going to see here. Jaden Reed, he's been outstanding, the rookie wide receiver out of Michigan State. He's questionable, but most likely going to play. And we have Eric Stokes that's doubtful. He's been on an IR for a while. Dontayvion Wicks is questionable as well. But most of these guys here with the Q tags are going to pull through and play on Sunday. Let's get into the captain plays. Now it is time for the captain plays, and we're going to start off at the top here. I'm just going to mention Patrick Mahomes. All right, he's not going to be my favorite captain play. He's more of a flex play in this type of build here for Sunday Night Football, just because of the two defenses that we're going to see on Sunday night. All right, Kansas City Chiefs have been top 10 across the board, and so have the Green Bay Packers been top 10 against the board. That's why they came away with that big win against the Lions. That's been the main stake here for the Green Bay Packers here, is their defense. And then you just had up and down play from Jordan Love. That's what's been holding them back. But here, Patrick Mahomes, obviously we know what he does. He hasn't had outstanding games since week 7, where he had 37 fantasy points. If you're paying for this type of salary, he's going to have to come with at least 25 fantasy points. He had 20 against the Raiders, but other than that, 17, 16, 8. And prior to the 37, he had 21, 19, very subpar all year long. But still, this team, it's been the defense that's been holding things down and not forcing as many stat stuffers type of games for Patrick Mahomes for him to pad up the stats and get 25 to 30 fantasy points. They don't need that because their defense is so strong. So Patrick Mahomes is going to be more of a flex play, but I definitely do have to just mention him in the captain section, because I know people just get, hey, oh my God, damn, what are you doing? You don't know what you're doing. Listen, look at the numbers. The numbers are coming in with, and I've been right. I've been right for a lot of these games, and I've been almost on point, especially that Seattle-Dallas games. If you can go back, you can track the records. I've been pretty solid of where we should lean on. I've been guiding you guys in the right direction, breaking down these games pretty analytically as best possible. All right. So one of our favorite captain plays is going to be Travis Kelce. Obviously here, Travis Kelce, this is one of the weaknesses if you're going up against the Green Bay Packers defense. It's going to be the running backs and it's going to be the tight ends. So let's look at fantasy points allowed to opposing tight ends. I'm going to show you both of these areas where this is going to be a glaring hole for the Green Bay Packers. All right. If we're looking at their total rank, for the Green Bay Packers against opposing tight ends, they are 20th overall and 30th in the red zone. All right, you do not want to see that. That is one of the bottom worst against tight ends in the red zone. They allow around 4.2 catches a game, around 50 yards, and 0.4 TDs. But this is the #1 receiver for that team in the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're waiting for Travis Kelce to have a big breakout game. He hasn't had that since the Chargers game. So this is a perfect scenario here. Chargers struggle against opposing tight ends, and so do the Green Bay Packers. So I expect a big game from Travis Kelce, and I expect him to get in the end zone. So if he does, he's going to take advantage of it. And with a game that I do see is going to be a little bit more lower scoring here. All right. The next play we're going to be going to at captain will be Isaiah Pacheco. I just showed you fantasy points allowed to opposing tight ends. Let's look at fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs, what the Green Bay Packers are giving up. So their total overall is 24th overall and 21st in the red zone. But if you dig a little bit deeper, they're giving up over 105 rushing yards a game, 4.2 yards a carry, 5 receptions, and 30 yards receiving to running backs as well. So this bodes well for Isaiah Pacheco because he does that in spades. All right, he's going to provide rushing and he's going to provide receiving, especially with no Jerick McKinnon. There's going to be more Isaiah Pacheco touches to go around, and there's going to be more catches for Isaiah Pacheco to turn up and break out some big runs and some big catches. All right, for this team. So I love these two Kansas City Chiefs right here, Kelce and Pacheco. Now, let's look at some of the Green Bay Packers that can go at that captain spot. The first one we're going to be talking about will be A.J. Dillon. Yes, one of the reasons why is because Aaron Jones is out and he's going to get the opportunity to get another game of 15 to 16 to 17 to 18 and 19 touches. All right, we've seen the last past 2 weeks. He's had 14 and 3 receptions and then 14 and 4 receptions. So he's been getting double-digit fantasy points in 2 games. We need him to get in the end zone, which he hasn't for quite a few weeks here. But this is a spot where we can lean on him to do so. If we're looking at fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs, this is one of the weaknesses of the Kansas City Chiefs. Despite the fact that it says 14th overall and 16th in the red zone, they're giving up almost 100 yards per game, 90.7, and they're giving up 4.8 yards a carry. All right, they're giving up 4 catches and 22 yards receiving to opposing running backs as well. So if you want to get something going, if you want to get Jordan Love comfortable and not in duress, you need to establish the run game, and that's going to have to be A.J. Dillon, the big bruising back that they do have. All right, so love A.J. Dillon as our third captain play. All right. As we continue to go out, some other mentions at captains. Rashee Rice, he is improving week by week, getting more confidence in this offense and being reassured by Andy Reid. So Rashee Rice is looking like the #1 wide receiver. As you can see, the targets are going up, the receptions are going up. You see consistency, getting touchdowns, and the yards are going up as well. If we're going to choose a wide receiver on this Kansas City Chiefs team, it's going to be Rashee Rice, the rookie, which is a big surprise because a lot of rookie wide receivers struggle under the Andy Reid offense. So Rashee Rice is a stud play that can be utilized at that captain position. All right. And then one more captain for the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to lean more towards Jayden Reed. Hopefully we can get a full go, but we're going to get more news on Sunday. But I would be leaning toward Jayden Reed over Christian Watson. Christian Watson, he's very volatile. He needs a big play to come through. And I'll show you his numbers when we get to the flex plays. But Jayden Reed is just another rookie wide receiver showing up and showing out. He's looking like the true #1 option on this offense here. He's being utilized receiving and rushing the football. So we've seen the past 2 weeks, he's getting more opportunities to do that. And you're seeing consistency here. 8 and 6 targets the past 2 games. He got it in the end zone against Detroit as well. And look at the fantasy point production. 15, 19, 19, and 12 against Minnesota. Consistency you see from there. That's what we want in our plays. And if you want upside, that's where you can take the risk with Watson. But I want guaranteed points. I want high usage. Jayden Reed is going to be your guy. That's going to be our final captain play for this particular game. Let's move on to the flexes. Right now, on to the flex plays. I gave you guys the weaknesses for both of these teams on both sides of the ball. It's going to be the running back and the tight ends. Those are going to be the weaknesses for both teams. So some of the flex plays we can go with. These are higher volatile type of guys. Christian Watson has not been consistent all year long. Maybe we saw a trend when he had a touchdown against the Chargers and then had a little bit of a breakout game against Detroit. Could we see another game like that to Christian Watson? Hopefully so. But this is going to be a tougher matchup here against that Kansas City Chiefs team. But the thing with Christian Watson, he just needs one. All right, he needs one deep ball, and if he can get in the end zone, he can definitely break the slate, and you can consider him as a flex play. All right. Next player we can talk about is Romeo Doubs. He's leading the league in red zone targets. That's why I would go towards him. And as you can see, so far this season, he has 7 TDs. So this has been one of the favorite targets for Jordan Love here, going to Romeo Doubs in that red zone. And speaking of Jordan Love, let's not forget him as a flex play just because he has upside rushing the football. All right, he can get you there going in that rushing route. All right, 39 yards against Detroit. He had 34 yards against Minnesota. He just seems to get you there. Right, the past 2 weeks, 26 and 23. In those lower type of scoring environments that we saw from Jordan Love. Before that, 18-13, kind of middling, just like we've seen from Patrick Mahomes. He's not my favorite play at flex, but if he can create, then you do see some upside with Jordan Love here as a flex play. But in this particular matchup, I do see a little bit lower scoring environment. So we can go with either defense. The home defense is going to be the Packers D, which is going to be lower owned because, hey, you're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs here. But they have been playing strong, okay? If we're looking at some of the games here, their last game, they got 15 fantasy points against Detroit on the road. So they need to step up. They definitely can. So do not be surprised if Packers have a solid day against Kansas City Chiefs. I like both defenses in this matchup because I do see a lower type of scoring environment. That's why I have running backs and tight ends as higher options here as a captain as well. So that leads to more defenses and kickers. All right, so we're gonna put in both of those on both sides. Packers and Chiefs, and both kickers are going to be viable, especially Butker. Butker's been solid all year long, averaging 8.8 fantasy points per game. All right, and he's been perfect kicking the field goal as well. So both kickers, both defenses are going to be viable. And I don't usually say that. But this game here, with how strong the defenses are across the board, that's why I'm leaning towards them. All right. Some of the other flex plays. All right. I gave you the tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, Travis Kelce, but the guy, Tucker Kraft, excuse me, I said his name wrong earlier, but Tucker Kraft is the rookie tight end, taking the spot right now of their other tight end. Let me get it correct. Let me go down because I know he's going to be in that injury report down here a little bit lower. I forgot his name. Not DeGuara. Luke Musgrave. Okay, so he's in the place of Luke Musgrave. We have Tucker Kraft. So Green Bay Packers drafted 2 tight ends in the draft last year, and this is the second guy. He got in the end zone against the Detroit Lions. Not much yardage, but he was getting 90% of the snaps. So you got upside there with Tucker Kraft. Hopefully he can get open on a couple routes. But he's playing the majority of snaps. So that's why you can lean towards him as a cheaper flex play. As we continue to go down, I do not like MVS. It's just not a lot of volume there. It's bad. All right, we're not going to go MVS. We can skip that. We can consider Clyde Edwards-Helaire because he's going to get a boost in targets and rushing attempts because the injury to Jerick McKinnon. That's why we can go towards Clyde Edwards-Helaire if you want to save some salary and go cheaper there. We have, let's see, Patrick Taylor, who's been the number 2 running back here, getting a little bit more usage. It's been Patrick Taylor. I just wanted to make sure. So if you want to get crazy and quirky, other than A.J. Dillon, they are giving work to Patrick Taylor. He's the number 2 running back in this offense, getting a handful of touches here and there, just to mention him. Let's see if we can find any other sneaky plays down low. Sky Moore has an injury to his knee. He's been playing with a wrap on his leg. And he hasn't been good. He wasn't good last year, wasn't good this year. I don't expect much out of him. The guy I would go towards, if we're looking a little bit lower, and a second option as a wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be Justin Watson. We've seen a few upside games from him against Philly at 11 targets. Got in the end zone. As a matter of fact, he got in the end zone the past 2 weeks. We've seen a nice amount of targets going his way as well. This is that third option on the Kansas City Chiefs as a receiver that Patrick Mahomes is going towards. So he's going to be higher on my list. All right, so Kelce, Rashee Rice, and then Justin Watson. Let's see if we can see anyone below that price that is worth being talked about. Maybe Dontavian Wicks because he's getting some usage. So Jordan Love spreads the ball around pretty much. That's what I'm saying here. As you can see, he's getting a consistent amount of targets, 5, 4, 4, 4. If he can get in the end zone at this very, very cheap salary, Dontavian Wicks, if he's cleared to play, then he can be a super punt play. Just throw him in at the bottom if you went heavier at the higher price guys. If you went Isaiah Pacheco, Kelce, A.J. Dillon, and you could have fit in A.J. Dillon. Where's the other guy? Kelce, A.J. Dillon, and Jaden Reed. If you fit in those guys, you can fit in under $1,000 price Wicks. That's going to be our final play at the flex. That's the cheapest I would go because I see he has usage. He has explosiveness there. So that's how far I would go. Let's go with the final 3 guys we're going to have in each and every one of our lineups. I'm going to say Kelce number 1. I'm going to say Pacheco number 2. And we're going to go with A.J. Dillon, all right? If we want some upside here, they're going to need to establish that run at home in Green Bay if they're going to have a chance to keep this competitive and open up things for Jordan Love. So these are going to be the 3 guys you need in each and every one of your lineups: Kelce, Pacheco, and A.J. Dillon. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be back with another video very soon. All right. Peace out.